Hello, Melissa, Natasha, how are you?
Hi,
Good. How about
good.
you?
Good. My name is Luis Vergara. I'm from Revista A Cine in Colombia. It's really nice to meet you.
So nice to meet
Likewise.
you.
Well, I would like to start with Melissa. In Supergirl, you play Kara Danvers, who was a journalist, and now you are playing another journalist. What do you think are like the differences between these two characters?
There could not be more differences. They are so different. I think that for all intents and purposes, Kara Danvers' career as a journalist was truly just a foil. It was the alter ego. We kind of just skimmed the surface of what it meant to be a reporter. I think it shows her ethics and the fact that Kara Danvers is a seeker of the truth and works for hope, help, and compassion. That's her motto. But she's a girl that can fly. So that's a
So it's more
pretty
about
big
that.
difference. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
more about that. And Sadie is purely just a journalist with a capital J, and she romanticizes a bygone era, and that is what she lives, eats, and breathes, is journalism. Maybe too much. So
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Well, talking about Supergirl, you should know Millie Alcott is going to play Supergirl in the new DC universe.
yes.
Did you have the opportunity to talk with her from Supergirl to Supergirl? And
Well,
what would be that advice you would like to share with her?
oh, um, I think that it is such a small and wonderful club to feel a part of. The women that have been able to wear the cape and play Kara Zor-El. I wouldn't necessarily have any advice except for, like stretch before you get in the harness and the wires. Because what's so lovely about the character is that she exemplifies so much. I think even more so than Superman. That might be sacrilege to say to some people, but she truly embodies so much hope and compassion and empathy that, like, whomever and let all of the women play her, because we should all feel like super girls in our lives.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have any advice. I just am excited to see what her take on the character.
Nice. Amazing. Thank you. Well, this question is for Natasha. Your character Lola represents like the new journalist and the evolution of the journalism profession. Do you think your character is like a criticism of this new way of doing journalism, or is more like an example of the evolution of this profession?
Both. I think that the show does a really good job of showing all sides of how a political influencer can be taken these days. The esteemed journalists give her a hard time at first and don't take her seriously, which I think is natural, I'm assuming. I'm sure journalists who have been working for decades feel that way about, TikTok or Instagram political journalists and influencers. However, the show, you also get to grow with her and you get to see in the show how hard she works and how much research she does. And I think that Lola ends up gaining the respect of these other women. And I think they start to see that she is a real journalist. She's just doing it with a new platform in a new way.
Nice. Thank you. Well, my following questions are for both of you, so feel free to answer as you want. What do you think about today's media that sometimes they care more about generating likes and views instead of sharing veridic information?
You want to go?
I think it's a product of necessity, because the industry, there's so much distrust for media right now that they have to. I think it's also a necessity because they're trying to stay afloat, sadly. And it's I don't know how a lot of journalists feel, but it seems like a very dark time for the field. And hopefully that changes. But
It's hard. I think it's also there's not one right answer. Like we are also at a time where we have much more access to more diverse voices online. So while there is maybe a more evil force we feel of like fake news or just for likes or just doing this title to like grab attention. While maybe that's happening, what's also happening is you're getting more authentic voices that are also there, and voices that haven't had a platform in the past now can, because they can use their phone. So while it's can be dark and bleak and scary, I think it's also hopeful and evolved, and we just have to learn how to evolve and manage this in a way that can benefit us. I think we can.
Nice. Well, something that I love about the show is that shares a lot about these professions. And I would like to know, what was the most surprising thing that you learned from this profession?
I mean,
So much.
So much.
How hard it is, how much
Yeah.
research you have to do, that you I mean, it's amazing because all four women have different perspectives. So when I think about like Carla's character, I learned, oh, it really is valuable to maybe be like the first reporter to break a story. Like that really means something.
Yeah.
And then I learned from your character, like, oh, what does it mean to be objective versus putting yourself in a story? You know, of course, this all came from Amy and the writers and stuff, but you learn that every journalist has their own flavor, their own take, their own reasons for doing everything. And like context is key, I guess.
I also was really struck by how monotonous it could be. I didn't really take that into account. Monotony, albeit like next to this machine that never stops moving, that like there's always news happening, always, but it might be a few and far between in the grand scheme of following a candidate on the campaign trail. Like you see them shake hands and take pictures with babies far more than like you see something really exciting and juicy happen. That's newsworthy.
Great. Well, just to finish, could you invite the audience in Colombia to watch the show? And if you want to do it in Spanish, I can help you.
Sure.
Or you
Sure.
Okay, in Spanish is Hola amigos de Colombia.
Hola amigos de Colombia.
Hola amigos de Colombia. I was like, should we say it together? Maybe?
I don't know. I should
I'll try.
Yeah, if you can try, if you want to try it together, that's fine. Hola amigos de Colombia.
Hola amigos de Colombia.
Los invitamos a ver
Los invitamos a ver
Las chicas del autobús
Las chicas del autobús
el 14 de marzo en Max.
el 14 de marzo en Max.
Well, thank you so much, Melissa and Natasha.
I just
that
got
was
nervous.
great. That was amazing. Believe me, it was great. Thank you so much for sharing your experience in this show. And I wish you the best with the show and, of course, in your future.